It's Middle School Ocean's 11. Hi everyone, I'm Jacob, I'm the Cowhat Librarian, and I'm here today to talk about The Great Greene Heist by Varian Johnson. And it's fantastic. If you know someone who is very, very much into heist type stories, people who liked Ocean's 11 or who liked Under Lock and Key, they'll love this. Now, Jackson Greene is a con man. He is well liked by his friends, not well liked by the principal, and is kind of infamous for a few different things. He has his own code that he learned from his brother about how different heists and the like are supposed to work. And he's famous for a few not so great incidents at his school, including the midday PDA, where there was a public display of affection that went wrong, and the Blitz at the Fitz, a famous basketball game. So Jackson is sort of on the outs with the school administration. He's also on the outs with his friend, Gabby De La Cruz, who's running for student body president. As the story starts, there's an election for the student body president, and that person will have a fair amount of say in how funding for different student groups will be distributed. And Gabby is getting into it for the right reasons, but her competition isn't so much. Keith is the son of an influential donor to the school, and he wants to pull funding from all the other clubs to dedicate it to his particular club instead. And because his father is such an influential donor, the principal is weighing heavily on the scales of the election to make sure that Keith wins. So Jackson Greene has to get his crew together to find a way to keep Keith from stealing the election. And he's got quite a crew. He's got a would-be journalist who happens to be Gabby's brother. He has a tech nerd friend who's basically his Q branch that comes up with all sorts of gadgets. Now, what I really liked about that particular touch is, unlike the Q branch from the James Bond movies, his tech wizard comes up with things that are legitimately impressive for a middle schooler, but a little more realistic and not up to the par of a professionally produced device. For example, he might produce a wireless communication device that they could use, but it would be the size of a brick and bulky and not last very long on batteries and only be able to do very, very limited things rather than the phone that everyone would presumably have at that point. At any rate, Jackson gets his crew together and they plan and they get the necessary machinery and they practice their caper, and in the end, they do their best to make sure that Keith cannot steal the election. And it's wonderful. It's fantastic. It's a heist, so okay, perhaps it's not the most believable story, but the individual characters are. The arc of the friendship and potentially more between Jackson and Gabby is very, very real. The conflict between Jackson remaining friends with Gabby's brother Charlie felt very, very real as well. And I think we all know someone like Keith, the son of a donor to an organization or school who believes that he should get things his way. It was fantastic. It was marvelous. And Varian Johnson wrote a sequel that maybe wasn't quite up to the par of this one, but it certainly wasn't Ocean's 12 either. It was good. And I sincerely hope he's writing a third one in this series. And what's more, I really, really hope that some TV studio or movie studio or Netflix picks up the option to this. I would love for there to be a Jackson Greene movie or miniseries or TV show, because he's such a wonderful character. He's so smart and focused and driven, and I loved it. It was fantastic. With that said, I do have to talk about the deal breaker. And unlike some of the other books I've talked about, the deal breaker on this one should be fairly obvious from the book's cover. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it from here, so I may have to put in an image of the book's cover for you to take a closer look. Maybe even closer. Now, to be clear, this deal breaker isn't Varian Johnson's fault, but whoever composited this cover, I have to wonder what they were doing, because for whatever reason, they've arranged it so it looks like Charlie is trying to get his hand up the cheerleader's skirt. And I get it, it's a heist story, you need all the characters standing around looking cool, but you couldn't have rearranged that a little bit? Or shifted him down slightly or something so it didn't look like he was trying to reach up her skirt? Come on. But that's a minor gripe that I'm willing to bet the vast majority of your readers won't even notice. But still, they could have done better. With that, thanks for listening to my rambling nonsense, and please keep an eye out for future videos from the Cowhat Library. Thank you. Bye now.